Hi, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Good morning. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, so whatever, it's fine. I am just gonna make a video, and I'm not very good at making videos. I think that if you go through any of my videos, there's like a very common thread. I don't know what my makeup looks like. I have a lot of makeup blindness. Just woke up. I threw makeup on my face and I put my hair up in a very shitty bun. So hi. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. So yesterday in a couple of days, I remember in the last couple of videos, I was like, oh, I gotta go to Galveston. I want to go do something with my life. I have to be around art, all that kind of stuff. And then I did it. And then I actually manifested my dreams. And that was really amazing. Okay, number one, because I was able to I felt like I was uncorking a bunch of, shit stuck in my soul. I know that sounds so crazy, but there's this, specific part of Spirited Away where she, pulls this disgusting cork out of this spirit that comes to the bathhouse, and it releases all this sludge and junk, and then it turns into this beautiful dragon and smiles and, flies off, and it's, cleansed, and that's what New Orleans and Galveston and San Antonio do for my soul. These three cities have been so monumental in my mental and physical health. Get the fuck out of here. And I know that sounds bizarre to be like a city could heal you, but it really can. And I have suspicions about like architectural layout as well as old history as well as the community, the value of art in the community and preservation and creation as opposed to destruction. So I have my suspicions why these places feel so good, and I think it's just the collective ambiance of the creative energy there. It's just so beautiful to observe. It's very pleasurable and healing to be around these huge buildings that are very, very old and to go into them and shop around and talk to the people. They all are very welcoming and helpful and fun to talk to. So we went to Galveston yesterday, and then we went to Galveston maybe a couple of weeks ago, but both times were really fun, and both times we played putt putt. This time, last time, we did the really hardcore putt putt experience. There's two paths in the magic carpet putt putt places you could go. You could go to the harder course or the easier course. The harder course was okay, but the easier course was they had more fun. They had the windmill and a lot more interesting um, things that you could go into, and I really enjoyed that. So did the rest of my family. They really enjoyed it as well. Um, we went to the Witchery. That was a lot of fun, and we got to talk to some people that were there. I ended up buying three statues and a ring of Isis, and it was really cool because I've always wanted an alabaster statue. They have these really beautiful ones. And I used to work at a metaphysical shop, and those were the more high end statues that we didn't really keep in stock. We kept the cheaper ones that were, you know, painted on the outside with black or fake gold or something like that. But I've seen that they do have alabaster statues, and I was um looking at them on Amazon and other places like Azure Green and some of the more major metaphysical shop providers for statues, candles, and all of those things. So, anyways, I finally accomplished the goal of getting one, and that was also very helpful for me personally. Just I love statues. I love art, And so, like, I have a couple of statues that are on an altar for my goddesses that I have like a whole bunch of them, and they're all like, I have a goddess altar, and so I keep all my goddesses on one, including Marie Laveau and Mrs. Butters, Mrs. Buttersworth. It's like a very old vintage glass bottle, but I think it's interesting to see divinity and femininity through time and space. Um, and I mean, that is technically a statue, like an old glass amber bottle of Mrs. Buttersworth, but also it has like historical relevance to me because my mother had one when she was little, and there's like an interesting story about that. So then it becomes like this elevated ancestral, like oral story about the Mrs. Buttersworth. I think that's what Mrs. Buttersworth, or was it Aunt Jemima? I don't know. It's one of them who had the bottles, the amber bottles made out of glass. And she used to put them on the table and be like, I know you could talk, because in the commercials, I believe that she talked or whatever, the bottles are talking. So it becomes like a funny touchstone for memory. And I think that's really helpful for somebody who struggles with ADHD and memory loss and head injury like I do. That being said, I've been watching a lot of side note, side note off the whole Galveston trip. I've been reminiscing and watching old Bam Margera things and Jackass and whatnot. And I saw this video where they went back to Phil and April's house, right? And they were going through all of the episodes. And it was so interesting when they were interviewing Bam. He was like recalling the budget, the names, the directors of the specific episodes, the people that were working on the crew with like such intensity and vividness that I was very shocked because like I skateboard, I surf. I haven't recently, but I still have like all of my surfboards and my skateboard, and in my early 20s I did that a lot. I got a couple of fucking really hardcore concussions, and then I was in like a horrific car accident. So it's interesting to see like how certain, like, okay, for instance, in the West we have like we have football, and they're always saying like after 3 concussions you're going to probably die from like head injuries or things like that, and like your quality of life decreases rapidly with every concussion you get. And then I see Bam Margera fully conscious, completely locked in, telling you budget, this and that, la la. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because that dude got knocked around a lot. Like everybody from the whole Jackass era has got knocked around a lot. And so I find it interesting that these people, skateboarders, can take a fucking hit to the head, bounce back, and they're fine. But footballers, they footballers, whatever they're called, I don't know, I don't care, linebackers, they will take a hit and they got 3 strikes and they're out. And they're just perma fried, like gone, right? So I find that interesting. I've been finding that interesting. I was like, wow, the amount of attention to detail that Bam was able to recall with all of those things that have happened to him was surprising. Surprising, especially because like I struggle with a lot because of my head injuries. I was like, how the fuck is Bam Margera like consciously recalling budget like to the dime and this and that? And of course you could argue like, well, it was all recorded, and so he's seen it multiple, he was living it, he recorded it, he helped edit it, and so that gained some kind of like, had a foothold in his head. um at the same time, I'm just shook at like, what is he doing? Like, what is your secret to remembering with all of those head injuries? What are you doing? I found that to be suspicious. No, I'm kidding. I thought it was really cool. Back to Galveston. So we went to the witchery. We had a lot of fun. I got a ring and like 3 statues and like this really beautiful black and white striped bat, like a ring holder or like a little offering bowl. Um, I love that. It's so cool. I got an alabaster statue and then two like kind of how do you say skeletal statues, and they're really cool. I like them a lot. So let's see. After the witchery, well, before that, we went to Mod Coffee, and then we always play checkers. They have like a lot of board games there, and then they have art on all of the walls. And we were getting our coffees, and I ordered like 4 shots of espresso with heavy whipping cream and all over ice. And my kids and my husband ordered something else. And he was like, "Are you ready to get your ass beat at checkers?" And I was like, "Excuse me, I'm gonna beat your ass." And then the guy behind the counter was like, "Yeah, she's gonna get you this time." And it was so funny. It was just that people are so fun to be around, and just it was really cool. It was really, really nice. And that's what I needed. I needed to be around people who were fun, people who are not so like they have a pole rammed up their ass, like impaled all the way through their mouth, and they're just kind of hobbling around with it, barely existing. And like it's such a nice contrast to where I live because the people here legitimately suck and they have no morals or values, or they're all just like fake copy paste morals and values that come from who fucking cares? Not me, because like nobody here has anything interesting to say or interesting to share, and so it's just so nice to go to some place where I fit in. Like I'm a city girl at heart, right? I have a lot of country girl tendencies. I have a homestead. I have to make sure she's not eating her ass on camera. Okay. Hey girl, please stop. Anyways, so I have like a lot of country girl like tendencies, but I'm a city girl at heart. I have to be around my art museums and my activities and my coffee shops and my good resale shops and thrift stores that are not trying to upsell or upcharge. So we went to Mod Coffee's The Witchery, and then we had a reservation at the Fisherman's Wharf, which is overlooking like this old looking pirate ship. I think it's called Elissa. This is the name of it. And we went to go eat outside, and it was really cool. This boy from Poland came up to me, and I was wearing like this beautiful celestial moment, and it was like the full moon, and I was just like in it to win it. Okay, just celestial astrological goddess. Okay, we live. I'm alive. I'm living. It's raining outside. Anyways, that being said, this boy from Poland came up to me and he was like, my friend from Poland who lives there still asked me to send her like a care package or something. And she was like, anything 90s whimsical goth. And he came up to me and he was like, and here you are wearing it. And it's just so cool because I was like, I had never heard of that before. And I'm seeing you. And now I understand exactly what she wants. I see the vision. And it was so sweet. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It was so sweet. And then this girl who worked there, we asked her like what her favorite dishes were, and I ended up getting like the blackened redfish with some pontchartrain on top, which is like smothered crawfish, kind of like an etouffee-esque kind of thing. It's like smothered, which is a brown gravy with mushrooms, crawfish, and like some perhaps bell peppers, green onions, something like that. But it's called pontchartrain, and it's like just some additive you could add to the top of anything in the South. Like I guess in Texas and Louisiana, that's just like a thing here, and the Gulf Coast as well as the Gulf. So, anyways, it was very delicious. My husband got some kind of like bourbon pasta. It's kind of like a Louisiana style pasta with crawfish and shrimp and everything. And my kids got like the burgers, or whatever. But the lady who we asked for like information from, we're like, well, what is your favorite thing to eat here? She said, I've eaten everything, so it's my favorite question to get from customers. And she had hair exactly like Ginger mid transformation from Ginger Snaps, and I was like, I love you. I was like, "Girl, I love your hair. It's so beautiful." Like it's beautiful red with like chunky kind of millennial white streaks, and oh my god, it was so beautiful. She has like natural red hair, and it was so good. And then we met her by the my kids are going to the restroom to like wash their hands or something, and we met her by the lobster tanks again. And she was like, she just told my younger son, "Do you want to hold a lobster?" And he was like, Yeah, and so we got to hold a lobster. It was playing with our food, and so that was really cool. So, highly recommend the Fisherman's Wharf. I think that's what it's called. When I was a little girl in Rockport, Port Lavaca area, there was a place called Fisherman's Wharf, and I believe back in like the 80s or something when it was open, they used to have like big cats in cages outside of it. But then the rumor is that a hurricane came and they couldn't move the big cats in time, so they just released them into the Texas coast wild. Whatever, it's Texas. Guys, look, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody fucking care. Nobody fucking cares here. They don't fucking care. They don't fucking care. That's the rumor. I'll have to go to research. I have to go to research and see if that's true. Okay, so then from the Fisherman's Wharf, we went. Well, then it was like Fisherman's Wharf was first, then Mod Coffee, and then the Witchery, and then we walked down the Strand, and that was a lot of fun, just going through places. The head shop that's on the Strand, I think it's getting closed down. I heard that it had something to do with embezzling, perhaps, allegedly embezzling, and perhaps, how do you say? Maybe it was like some weird drug stuff. I don't know, but yeah, we went in there. I think it was called Hazy Days or Lazy Days. It's, like days as in DAZE, like days, but whatever. Um, but then there's all that stuff happening with like Texas and the laws, and they love it when people get into car wrecks while drinking liquor. But if you smoke one joint, they want to chop off your hands and draw and quarter you and give you 50 years in prison for one joint, but you're allowed to buy a gallon of liquor from the liquor store and consume it and kill the whole family, and they'll just let you off with like a wrist slap. I have some kind of like suspicions it's to do with population control in some way. Anyways, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so we went down the Strand and we went into like a bunch of different. They're like these old Victorian buildings that are turned into like multi stores, basically like tiny malls. So you go into these like 4-story Victorian buildings that have like the central architecture is the same as it was back then, but they add like these fake walls to create stores inside. And I thought to myself how peculiar it was because um a person from the Victorian era would come back, like in time machine, come back over here and be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, it would just be like, "What is this?" And because it's shitty and it's cheap and it's embarrassing, and like honestly, a lot of the shops I went to, me out of nowhere, because it fucking is shitty and cheap. No, it really is. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened to America. Like, but the everything is just so fucking like shitty, cheap, ugly, disgusting, grotesque, just ugly. It's just so ugly. And it's ugly in the most shallowest and the most deepest penetrating way. It's everything now is so ugly and it's not beautiful and it's not even cute trashy. It's like just disturbingly grotesque. Like looking at like a perversion of nature is like the just what we're doing here now, and it's not even futuristic. It's just god, it's just so fucking lame. Anyways, yeah, that's end rant there, but I do love going into the old Victorian houses that have turned into like basically malls, and seeing the architecture and the like original wood floorings or like close to original wood floorings and the original staircases, as well as they had like a very old elevator that's decommissioned. We went to go to the arcade there in Galveston, but it's called the Axecade. It's like an axe throwing place and an arcade, but it was closed for maintenance, and that was so disappointing. But instead, we went and we did putt putt at the end of the day, which was a lot of fun. I think the next time we go there, I would like to go to a private, like, I want to do the private tours of like the Moody House, and there's like a couple of the really big old houses and churches. I want to do like a house and church tour next time. They have some really just beautiful things. We went to Bay City also a couple of days ago, and that they have like a really cool downtown. Like we kind of go all over Texas randomly, and it just fuels my soul. But I love seeing the very old churches. Like churches are some of the oldest preserved things from the 1800s, and it's just so interesting to see the different types of churches that were built. So, and like who built them as well. Within one of the museums we went to, I can't remember exactly which one it was because we went to a couple of different ones. I don't know if it was in Houston or if it was in Galveston, but there are like museums that have very old pictures of I think it was in the museum tied to the Fisherman's Wharf. There's like a museum that, and then you could go do the boat tour by yourself. I think like a self-guided boat tour, and that was really fun. But I think in the museum attached to the boat tour, there is old pictures of the buildings from the 1800s, like the churches, and then buildings that have been knocked down from storms and just dilapidation and neglect and abandonment. Speaking of which, Galveston is going through like this huge um like they're fencing off a lot of these old like 60s kind of apartments and hotel places that have been old and like they're abandoned and they're just like filled with rot, I guess from like hurricanes and neglect, and they're condemned, and they're just like taking excavators and like fucking them up and leveling them. But there was a lot of them I noticed fenced off, and then we saw one mid getting chomped down with excavators and the caterpillar, the machineries, and one of them hit a water main, and so it was just, the water main was going everywhere, and I thought that was really interesting to just kind of witness the tearing down, you know what I mean, the destruction. So all in all, everything, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. It was very healing. I felt very full. I felt like my plate was full and I was full, and everything was so good. It was all very rich, and we did all of the fun things other than like go to the beach. All the things that like I wanted to do and I've been wanting to do for years, all at once we did. So it was very, very cool. Um, and everyone was chill, except there was this one guy who looked like Gary Busey in a suit with a toupee on, and it was giving like Gary Busey and Katya had a child, and they did a bunch of amphetamines, and like this guy was very scary, and he was just kind of walking around picking up cigarette butts off the street, and that was the only weird interaction I had the entire time. Other than that, everyone was really nice. There was a boy with a beautiful voice singing songs sitting on a bench. He didn't even have like a hat to tip him or anything. But I wanted to give him money, but like his voice was so sweet, it was heartbreaking. And whenever I was passing him, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm about to start fucking crying." It was just so like beautiful. It's just nice to go places where people are creative and doing things like that. Like you won't catch anybody where I live doing that shit. Like they're like, I'm not gonna do that. Or if they are doing something, it's like an old drunk man with his friends at the local bar, and they're all a part of the band and stuff and whatever. But also when we went to Galveston, the entire coast is filled up with fresh seaweed, and so that beautiful scent, it's not rotten yet, it's not rot, but it's the freshness of like the seaweed was penetrating the air, and it was like invading your senses and like getting deep into, every crevice, but it smelled good. It was like a good fresh ocean. um yeah, it was really nice. In fact, like, passing up all of these beach houses, I was thinking to myself, I really wanna go to New England sometime because of there was, like, certain types of beach houses, and I was like, "That reminds me of something that I would see in, like, New England," you know what I'm saying? Um, and I was thinking like maybe this is the year I'd be a big girl and go on a plane. Like I've never been on a plane before, and I was like maybe this is the year. But there's just so much happening here in the States. I just don't feel comfortable really doing anything. And I don't think anybody does. I feel like there's so much like authoritarian like choking going on happening here, and there's like this unsettledness from Uranus traveling into Gemini that for I don't think for this I would get into a plane this year. In theory I'm like a big girl and I want to get into an airplane and like go and have save the money and go and accomplish the things I want to do with my life. Physically, don't think it's gonna happen because just the way things are playing out stateside, it's kind of funky. Like I did see a post from I think it was BBC, and I thought it was a post from The Onion, and it was like, "Are you very good at video games? If so, American air traffic is gonna hire you to navigate those birds in the sky." And I was like, "That's the requirement? Like what? Call of Duty log hours?" I was like, "No way. Are you serious?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I thought it was an Onion post. Like I thought it was like a fucking joke. No, it was like literally BBC and like the news people here were like, "Yeah, if you're very good at video games, guess what? You could get hired to literally work at the airport and navigate like the air traffic control." I was like, "What the fuck? All these Fortnite kids are gonna be like, hell yeah, I got this. Like, I got this." And I was just like, oh my fucking god. So that's very scary. Okay, I don't want anybody from a Call of Duty lobby telling the plane I'm in where to go. Okay, like girl, I don't know what you're talking about. That is some scary shit. But anyways, we had like a lot of fun. Anyways, all in all, we had like a lot of fun. Yeah, I love the here's the issue with me. I love Galveston, I love New Orleans. Those cities are so fuck man, they're so great. And I really do appreciate the history and the people and the music and the community and everything that goes into just creating what they are, which is masterpieces. Like I love them. Now I like fantasize about moving away from Texas all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Fuck y'all up. Like I'm always thinking about getting the fuck out of here. Gotta get the fuck out of here. Help. Hate it here. La la la. Right. They're taking our rights. They're not hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your husband. Like they're constantly boot on the throat, like just killing people. Like they just hate they're just it's so conservative and kakapupu. Um, you know what I'm saying? It's just horrible. It's just so horrible sometimes. But then there's places like Galveston, and sometimes whenever because I go to San Antonio and I feel like this sense of like renewal and pride for like certain places. I'm just like, if I ever moved away from these places, I would not be able to revisit those type of sensations and fill myself with the senses that I'm so familiar with, which is very difficult because there's a part of me that wants to go and like carve a new path for myself and my family in another place and adapt there and whatnot. I think that's normal. Humans are mostly nomadic, and this whole capitalist Western world follow money is new to the human condition, considering that we generally used to just follow prey around or agriculture, and it's like so now we have to follow money, and it's like I don't think it's very beneficial for the monkey mind to do that because it's shifting our value system around and causing like a devastating amount of destruction to the planet. Sorry, not to sound fucking woke, but like money bad, money bad, money bad. Like I just anyways, so there's like this part of me that deeply yearns for new experiences and places that I always wanted to go. Like I've always wanted to go to Salem. I always wanted to go to Maine and the East Coast and things like that. New York and whatnot. I like Seattle. Things like there's always these places I want to go to, and before 2019, it was something that was so easy for me to just kind of like dream and do and like go and be like, we'll save up the money and just do it. It was so easy to kind of like Ganesha, like remove the obstacles and just kind of go forward with whatever, you know? And now it's kind of like I'm playing a game. I'm moving pieces and I have to be strategic and no longer just a straight path. It's now there's so many multiple moving pieces of this life of mine that I have to kind of like pivot and move and station, and it's become more, and that's fine. It's just it takes longer. And then I guess you could also argue that the lengthening and the yearning creates a better experience. You know what I'm saying? The desire, the need to go and grow and whatnot and prepare and plan. It helps you build things within yourself that you never thought was there, as well as helps you fulfill have a sense of fulfillment that is prolonged, and it just feels better. Sense of accomplishment feels better, and you're more likely to be grateful, enjoy it, as well as feel satiated and satisfied with the outcome because it's not this instant gratification kind of thing. I feel like pre 2019 me, it wasn't that I was seeking instant gratification, but I could easily obtain things like plucking fruit. It was very, very easy. Plucking ripe fruit was so easy. But now I have to like plan and do this and that. You know, it's become the whole world is now focused on gotta get it right now, gotta get it tomorrow, gotta have it now, gotta do it right now. If it's not right now, then it's never because tomorrow's not promised and blah 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 and all this shit, all this instant gratification shit um has created these horrible cycles that, you know, obviously everybody's aware of them. I don't have to go into it. Like it just sucks dick, right? Super fucking lame, sucks dick. It's booty. Um in summary, it's booty. And so, yeah. But yeah, so anyways, I was able to accomplish a goal that I kind of set for myself, which was like I was like, I gotta go to Galveston. It starts with one thing. I don't know why. No, seriously though, it starts with a yearning on the inside. It starts with like an envisioning, a want, a need that needs to be desired and fulfilled. You know, a need, a desire that needs to be fulfilled. It starts with the void. There is a space. There's something missing, and then the void calls to you, hopefully not to tell you to do something bad, like jump the call of the void. um no, but the void calls, and then you seek to fill that void with experience, and then or experience or something that you're missing, something that you need to feel in order to feel fulfilled. Does that make sense? So and then I did it, and then I did it, and then I had a lot of fun. There's like these now I'm just noticing, I guess it's because I've cleared out a lot of my schedule and the people in my life that are no longer beneficial for my future or sustainability, because I've cleared out all that hogwash. There's this how do you say? There's this I don't know. I'm just because I cleared all that out, now I'm able to have these new experiences. Now I'm looking into these little places, these altars that are empty, like these little nooks in the walls and crevices where there used to be a statue there and a candle and an offering, and now there's not. Now it needs to be fulfilled, and I am fulfilling them, and it's restructuring who I am as a person, as well as making me into a better person, a happier person, just somebody that wants to be alive and do things. You know what I mean? Get out, experience stuff, and want to better myself and better my family and just be better according to my morals, values, and definitions. So that's all. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Hope you're doing well. I don't even know who watches this channel. There's just like everybody's just lurking. And that's cool. What the fuck ever. Since this is just me having like an online diary and like shouting into the void, um, it's been weird and it's been fun, and I hope that there's more weird fun in the future. That being said, I guess I'll see you guys later. If not, whatever. Bye.